When my heart is overwhelmed, lead me, lead us to the rock that is higher than I, that is higher than we are. And at times it feels that, yes, we are indeed overwhelmed. Pulse nightclub, Emmanuel 9, Christ Church, Tree of Life, Sikh temples, mosque, transgendered siblings, policing of black and brown bodies, Chabad of Poway synagogue, high school students facing blackface, students at UNC Charlotte. It seems sometimes that our hearts are just overwhelmed and that we are indeed just weary from welcoming each other to these events, weary of the racism, sexism, and all the other isms and phobias and fears that attempt to find solutions in death and destruction. We're weary, yet these lives are worth it, worth our pushing through, worth our pulling each other through. They're worth our gathering together, our singing together, being together, praying together. We are weary, but these lives are worth our worshiping together. And so, though overwhelmed, we are together. So we don't lose hope, we don't lose heart, for we look to the hills from whence cometh our help. Yes, our help also comes from humankind, because in the end, every life is indeed worth it. And with this, I welcome you, and I welcome you.
Good afternoon. I want to share with you some words from a friend of mine, Rabbi Sam Gordon, who is the rabbi at Congregation Sukkot Shalom. This is a statement that they issued. And the statement comes from the Central Conference of the American Rabbis. Reform rabbis stand with Chabad of Poway. The Central Conference of American Rabbis is thrust into mourning once again, together with all decent people worldwide, in the aftermath of another attack on Jews at worship. We mourn the precious soul lost to this world in Poway, California, at the hands of the murderer. We pray for the healing of all who were injured, including our Chabad colleague, and stand in solidarity with the whole community of Chabad of Poway. Exactly 6 months ago, a mass murderer took the life of 11 Jews at worship at Tree of Life Synagogue in Pittsburgh. More recently, Muslims and Christians have been massacred at prayer in Christchurch, New Zealand, and at multiple churches in Sri Lanka. Houses of worship are intended as sanctuaries from the hateful violence that too often characterizes our world today. Security measures are important, if regrettable necessities, but they do not take the place of loving hearts, celebration of religious diversity, and a worldwide human commitment to end the scourge of hate-fueled violence. Reform rabbis join in prayer for the realization of the prophet Isaiah's vision. Violence shall no longer be heard in your land, nor devastation and destruction within your borders. Amen.
Our world is filled with events and situations that can cause us great fear and anxiety. It is easy to become overwhelmed and live imprisoned by fear. But we are promised that God is faithful and God will protect us. God wants us to let go of fear and live life to the fullest. We come in these moments to just have a time to reflect on the lives lost due to all of these hate crimes, as I call them. We light a candle for the victims of Shabbat of Poway Synagogue shooting, because they were. We light a candle for the victims of Sri Lanka Easter bombings, because they were. We light a candle for the victims of New Zealand Christchurch shooting. We light a candle for the victims of the Charleston Emmanuel AME church shooting. We light a candle for the victims of the Pittsburgh synagogue shooting. We light a candle for the victims of the Kentucky supermarket shooting. We light a candle for the victims of Charlottesville. We light a candle for the victims of the Pulse nightclub shooting. We light a candle for the victims of the transgender community. We light a candle for those who have been affected by terror by mail. We light a candle for any person that was killed as a result of hate. We light a candle because they were.
Because they were. And as with anything, we want to take this moment just to pause and remember those who lost their lives simply because they were. Will you bow your heads in remembrance? O Holy One, here we are once again. Yet we know that although there is darkness, there is also light. Where there's tears, there are also joy. And where there's pain, there is also comfort. And in that, we say thank you. Amen. A wise person once said that there is a time for everything, and as we transition from a time of remembrance, we need a little joy in our lives as well. And so today's chapel service will bring just that, a little joy, a little happiness, to put a smile on our faces, but yet at the same time, have us to remember who we all are. Will you join us as we transition to our next service? Thank you.
Is she still on? Is she still on? She is! How are we doing today? Oh, wow, that was pathetic. Come on, y'all. I said, how are we doing today? All right, drag queens are a lot like Pentecostals. We like a loud call and response, okay? All right, so when I tell you to say, hey, Miss Dinah, not bad, not bad, better than the first time. We're gonna try that one more time, all right? When I tell y'all to say, hey, Miss Dinah, all right, all right. Now, raise your hands if you have been to a drag show before. Oh, wow, like a lot of y'all. Okay, cool. Well, for those of you who don't know, what we're going to do today is we're going to be showing you how the queer community celebrates, how we exhibit joy, how we exhibit our creativity, our artistry, and just show you what our sacred spaces look like, all right? Are y'all excited for that? All right. Well, like I said, my name is Dinah. I'm going to do a real quick number for you, and then we're going to get to the rest of the performers, all right? Okay, can we make sure that music is as loud as we can get it? Like I said, joyful noise. Here we go. Again, y'all make some noise for Dinah with a D.
Well, I'm a religious zealot, and I love the Bible. I love God's Word. I believe that the law of the Lord is perfect. And Leviticus 20:13 clearly says, if a man also lie with mankind as he lieth with the woman, both of them have committed an abomination, they shall surely be put to death, their blood shall be upon them. And as a Christian, I believe the Bible, and that's where I get my belief.
Homosexuality. Homosexuality. Thank y'all so much. Like I said, a real quick number. I know you're all surprised, like a drag queen doing Madonna. Oh my God, it's like a white person not seasoning their food. Anyway, we're gonna move on to our next performer, all right? Now, just shout it out, what is your favorite 90s movie? I heard Space Jam? Ooh, somebody's good at predicting things. Look at you. Do we have our first performer ready? All right, y'all make some noise for this next beautiful alien from outer space. He is Luke Ami. Woo!
Slam now, we got the real jam going down. Welcome to the Space Jam. Here's your chance, do your dance at the Space Jam. All right.
Bubble gun? My God. make some noise for Luca, me. All right. Oh, baby, you forgot your bubble gun. Come on now. There you go. You scared me for a second when you pointed at me, my gosh. All right, y'all. It makes a sound effect, too? Look at that. Oh, come on. All right. Now, I know y'all said y'all had been to a drag show before, but it seems like we're a little bit quiet this morning, all right? So here, one more time. We're going to make a big old joyful noise. Just on 3, y'all scream like y'all just saw somebody do the most amazing thing, all right? 1, 2, 3. All right, y'all are going to need a lot of them for this next performer. Please put your hands together for Coco Chanel. Woo! Ooh, look at that gospel beauty. There we go. Oh, gotcha, okay. He just stopped my heart when I was dancing in the discotheque. I said I can't stop Friday and I can't stop Saturday with a cocktail on my left hand. I had a cigarette in my right hand. He could have cut me off with my hypocrite self because we don't shake hands. I came in church on Sunday morning and I sang in the choir. my God. Coco Chanel, everybody. Girl. I got tired just watching that. How'd you do it in all black? My God. Here's your bracelet, baby. And here's your other bracelet, baby. There you go. Y'all, she praise danced those bracelets right off. Yes, ma'am. I saw you, Deneen, back there praise dancing. Woo! All right, y'all. We're going to slow it down a little bit now. We got one more performer left, right? And then we're going to get into a panel discussion and just let y'all get to know a little bit about us. This next performer is one of the first performers I met whenever I first moved up here. She's an excellent talent. Y'all, please make some noise for Bella DeBall.
Well, you almost had me fooled. Told me that I was nothing without you. Oh, but after everything you've done, I can thank you for how strong I have become. 'Cause you brought the flames and you put me through hell. I had to learn how to fight for myself. And we both know all the truth I could tell. I'll just say this as I wish you farewell. I hope you're somewhere praying, praying. I hope your soul is changing. Never be enough.
Make some noise for Bella DeBall. That was absolutely gorgeous, baby. Absolutely gorgeous. All right, can I get all my performers back out here? We're going to do ourselves a little panel discussion, teach y'all a little about ourselves. You just got to get these chairs up to the stage first. Here we go. Wow, gloves are the worst. Oh, my gosh. Completely non-functional. There we go. And can we give the performers... Oh, shoot. Oops. All right. All right, cool. And can we give them the microphones? Where are the microphones at? Excellent. Cool. Well, hi there, everybody. How are y'all doing this morning?
Oh, blessed and highly favored.
Yes, ma'am. Just once more, can y'all go ahead and tell everybody your names real quick?
Absolutely. My name is Coco Chanel, spelled differently so I don't get sued.
Hi there. Yes, my name is, in fact, Bella DeBall. Oh, you have a microphone. Where?
I'm that good. No. My name is Lukami.
Excellent, excellent. Wow, they clap for just saying our names. That's awesome.
I love that.
All right. Ain't it great? Yeah. So, real quick, how about each of you just share, like, what's your story been with faith so far?
So my dad is actually Catholic. My mom is Baptist. And I'm an Ishin Buddhist. So for me, it was always, they never wanted to pressure me into finding what I wanted to believe in, as long as I just believed in something. So I went through a lot of exploring, discovery. So I actually was, for 7 years, I was a solitary Wiccan. And I practiced that until it just didn't fit for me anymore, until I was introduced to Buddhism, 654, June 5th, 2004. And then I became a Buddhist then. But for me, religion's always been a very personal thing, and it's something between my relationship with the universe, relationship with an outer being. And for me, it's always been something that I don't like to put upon others. I don't always share that I'm a Buddhist, because I don't want them to think like, oh, he's like, oh, there's this queen here. They're just doing some, like, at airports or something like that. I don't want it to be that mentality. I just want it to be like, I'm about sharing love and sharing about welcoming energy. And the energy that you put out there is what you should be receiving. So that was always been something really big for me.
Well, thank you for sharing that with us. Bella, how about yourself?
Oh, you both went to hand me the microphone. That's so nice. Thanks for taking care of me. So I grew up in a very strong faith household. My father is actually here, sitting in the back over there.
Yes, make some noise for Mr. DeBall.
Don't be scared, Dad. I only look like this at night. So I grew up in a very strong faith household. We grew up first Catholic, and then Southern Baptist was the church that we went to, and then we ended up right when I was getting into adulthood in a non-denominational specific church. And it's just always been such a big part of my life in a way that I didn't know it was going to be. I mean, growing up, it was kind of always the standard, oh, we're going to Sunday school because that's just something that we do. We're going to church because that's something that we do. We're going to Wednesday night, Awana. I don't know if any of you know what Awana is, but, oh yeah, we got one Awana fan back here at work.
Wait, what's Awana?
Awana, it's like a children's program, and there's different levels of it depending on your age, and you learn Bible verses, and you do like activities and learn like stories of the Bible and everything like that, and it's just a nice way for like young kids to like sneak religion into it without being like, all right, now we're gonna sit down and learn about the Bible, because if you do that, 4-year-olds won't listen. So it's always just been such a big part of my life, and after I got older and I moved out and started, living on my own and making a lot of my own decisions, I thought that I would kind of like turn away from spirituality almost a little bit, and it ended up being the only thing that really like grounded me when I was out on my own. And I, of course, always continued to have a very loving and supportive family, but in those times where I thought that, oh, maybe this isn't, like when I was younger, I was like, maybe this isn't the right direction for me. Maybe it's not truly what I believe. It became something that when I fell on hard times in my adult life, that I just turned to like ground me and to make me the person that I am. And I think I've just kind of carried that mentality with me throughout my entire life. I'm a very sarcastic person. Something to say?
Yeah, I can attest to that. You are. Yeah.
I'm a very sarcastic person. Sometimes I come across a little bit cold, but I do have a lot of a sense of warmth, and most of that comes from my faith and my spirituality and the grounding that gives me. So yeah.
Beautiful. Luke, how about you?
I do love you.
You should.
Oh, I do. But yeah, so for me, I was raised Baptist throughout my life, and same thing was sort of the thing where as a child, went to church, went to Sunday school, and sort of was like, just knew that was expected, and then didn't really comprehend it as much for myself until I was an adult and started processing, like, what does that mean for me as an adult to maintain my spiritual life? And like Bella, I found that I didn't realize how much of my upbringing through the church prepared me for adulthood and just in terms of like grounding myself and being able to, I find that like I do a lot of art-based work, which involves a lot of anxiety because you're putting yourself out there all the time.
The
And
truth,
so,
yeah.
Right, so it's very nerve-wracking all the time to put yourself out there, and so finding something that helps ground me is really essential. And I've noticed that even when I'm not consciously thinking about my spirituality, how much it has influenced how I handle situations and how I go through life and how I interact with one another and other people, just through my understanding of how I was raised and how God and how Jesus wants us to interact with one another. That's something that the older I get, the more I realize how much those things come into play.
Well, nice, quite nice.
Yeah.
So next question is, what motivates you to do drag?
So I'll tell you a story. So I never wanted to be a drag queen. I always was a theater actor, and I thought that being a drag queen, I was trying to transition to be a woman. That's what was taught to me when I was younger, so that's why I didn't want to be one. And then as I got older, I experienced a lot more things, and I realized that doing drag was a way to express my creativity in a way that I couldn't do as an actor, because as an actor, you have your lines, you have a script, you go through beats, and you create your character arc. But as Coco, I can create my entire thing from how I look, how I present my number, how I market myself. It's all within me and through me, and it's a way that I can explore my creativity that, like I said, I've never done before. So for me, drag has always been about expressing my art and connecting that to something that's on another level. Because I think we, as drag performers, we connect to something that's on a different level. And when you do it well, you can you can truly make a wonderful experience with someone, and that's a lasting impression. That they're like, oh my God, I remember I was at this show, and this drag queen did this number that it took me back to 1978. This literally happened to me. It took me back to 1978 when I was at Studio 54, and I was like dancing with Sylvester, and it was just a wonderful time in my life. And seeing that drag performance brought me back there, and it brought such memories for me. And that's something that we can do as drag performers, is taking someone to a new level and a new experience that they forgot or want to experience and be part of.
Coco and I kind of started in a similar vein where I was a theater major all throughout school. I thought I was going to be the next thing on Broadway. And then I realized there are 5 million other white guys in the world who do exactly what I do. And so I was like, oh, maybe this isn't the way for me. But drag for me, I kind of fell into it by mistake. I ended up doing it for a show. And I just ended up falling in love with it because it's the culmination of everything that I love to do. I'm a seamstress, I'm a director, I'm a hairstylist, and I love being the star. So for me, it was a chance for me to do the entire production side while still being the production. And that brought me a lot of joy. And to me, drag just in general is a celebration. Like it's
absolutely,
it is so rare to go. I host a couple of weekly shows, so does Coco, but it's rare to go to a show that has some version of drag going on where you don't see people having the time of their lives and just having like a respite from, like the troubles that they're going through, or maybe they had a really bad day and they decided to go see a bunch of people in wigs flounce around on stage. And for some reason, it just brings them to this good place. And so I think that's really what draws me to it, because I love the connections and I love making people feel. And having that celebration while still also getting a lot of attention is such it's such a nice balance, because I'm doing something so nice for the world and also making myself feel really good too. Yeah. And I mean, on a personal note, Bella has helped me out of drag find who I am as a person, like
100%, yeah.
Before I started doing drag, and I think a lot of people who can speak to it, before you start doing drag, a lot of us kind of feel lost with who we are, and it's not until we can dive into our drag personas that we help discover who we are out of drag, which is so wild. Like, we have to cake on so many layers of makeup, so many fishnets, so many tights, 50-pound wigs, just to find out who we are without all that on. It's wild, but it really has, it's changed me for the better, and I think it's made me a much happier person. Yeah, that's all.
Absolutely.
Likewise, I also have a theater background. Not that all drag performers start in theater.
I think we all four have a theater background now that I'm thinking about it.
Every single one of us.
There you go.
And with me, I had always been a very performative person, very extra all the time, even as a child. And I went to college at a theater conservatory, and something about being such a pressure cooker for theater and having to produce creativity that's being graded and being critiqued constantly kind of makes you fall out of love with it a little bit. And so I got to a point where I felt a little stagnated creatively, where I was like, because I went to school for directing and I do lighting and makeup and things, that was like, I'm doing things for other people, not that I don't enjoy that and creating other people's visions, but also I don't get a chance to do what I want to do and do the art that I want, because most people like don't want this kind of face in their film or in their like random stage play about Shakespeare. Like, they don't usually have random blue aliens in it. So I was looking for an outlet, and I had started to do drag and found that both just in terms of being able to express myself, and for me, with my drag, I've always found gender very limiting, and so by creating this sort of alien-like persona, I allow myself to sort of alleviate myself of feeling constricted to a certain gender and a certain way to perform. Because just so in my everyday life, I still identify as a female person, but like I don't like all the constructs that come with being a woman all the time. And so doing drag has given me a space to explore that and know what it's like to be free of that, as well as also just being able to have a community of people, like for instance, Coco is my drag mom, and growing up from Chicago, it was really helpful to have people that I could rely on and that people I could go to and that would support me. I don't get homesick often, but when I do, it's nice to have people that I know I can always reach out to. And so drag has given me a community of people that I can always rely on, I can always relate to, and that are there for me. And that is something I also am extremely grateful to drag for.
Yeah. You said that Coco was your drag mom. Can you explain what that means for people who may not know?
Yeah, much like a biological family, sort of your parents are there, ideally, to raise you and guide you. And likewise in the drag community, a lot of times is more seasoned queens and kings or non-binary drag performers.
Drag royalty of all kinds.
Drag royalty of all kinds, thank you.
Exactly.
It will form bonds in terms of ways to like mentor each other. So like, for instance, Coco, a lot of times I can ask for advice about numbers or ideas or just about how to portray certain things, or many times Coco's giving me outfits because she knows that I'm wearing the same 2 shirts over and over again.
We have a legacy. You gotta switch it up, honey.
Advice on how to keep that ponytail pinned in.
Exactly. We're working on hair. We're getting better with hair. We're still growing. But just having someone who helps you and ideally helps you grow, and likewise is there to support you and guide you in any way that they can. Yeah.
Oh, fantastic. So one last question before we go ahead and eat some food. Yeah, right. Gosh, starving. So y'all talked some about your faith story. You've talked some about your story with drag. Do the two intersect in any way, and how?
So actually, it's been lately. It's been intersecting more because my mom is part of this this church. It was New Friendship Baptist Church. Was originally on 69th and Normal, if I remember correctly. And so she actually reached out to me and was talking about like, well, what are you doing like today? And I was like, what do you mean today? Like you're speaking at something in drag, right? I was like, yes, Mom, I am. And it created a dialogue that's something that me and my mom haven't really talked about. My mom and my dad were okay with the gay thing. It took them a while to get to the drag thing. And that's what's been not a hurdle, but it's been an ongoing journey with us. But it's helping to open a dialogue that was never there before. So I think it's really cool to have that connection between, my drag world and my mom, who is very much a part of the church, and she's a trustee and things like that. Actually having the dialogue of like, oh, this is a form of your art. Okay. When I'm actually have clothes on. Just had to throw that in there.
Yeah, they absolutely, I think, intersect for me because they're both fundamental parts of who I am as a person, and so I think just naturally they kind of influence and balance off of the other. Like I have times when I'm like, wow, I'm so discouraged. Why do I hate everything? And I'm like, oh, my faith has been slipping. Maybe that's why my drag sucks this week. And kind of like, kind of vice versa. Like I find the more, a lot of times the more like in tune I am with my faith, the more in tune I am with God, the more I'm actually like paying attention to that kind of stuff instead of just what's right in front of me, the more I find that my life seems to go better, which is wild. It's almost like he told us that in a book or something. Yeah, so they're absolutely intertwined, I believe, and kind of like going off of what Coco said, coming from a family that was so faith-based, I think every single one of us, I have 4 younger brothers in addition to my 2 parents, and I think that when I started like exploring my queerness growing up, it started to be a little bit rough kind of for all of us. I mean, would you agree with that? Maybe for like a solid 6 months. It was a rough 6. Do you have something to say? Oh my gosh. Okay, this is why we don't let you talk.
Yeah, I love movies. I mean, if anyone's paying for a movie, I'll go see it. Like,
I love that. Okay, so I'll get a ride home on the CTA, and you can take Luke home.
hey, movie day.
So no, but yeah, so it was definitely an adjustment. Just because I think it was something, at least in having conversations with my mom and with my dad, it was something that neither of them had to face like head on with somebody that was so like invested, that obviously they're so invested in because it's their child. And for me personally, it was something that I tried so hard to suppress for so long because it was, growing up, I was taught that was just, there was no way that could be right. God would never love me, stuff like that. And just growing in queerness, and honestly, drag has become a big part of me growing as a queer person too. It's just, it's set me on a good path where I can be a very spiritual, religious person. I can have a relationship with God, but I can also be this like crazy, overpainted character who's making people laugh on a microphone on Saturday nights. So, for me, they are absolutely connected, and I think for a lot of people, they are.
Yeah, and I think for me, it's one of those things where it's not, I don't like overtly use religion in my numbers, but I do, as I mentioned before, like I find it helps a lot with my interactions with people. Chicago drag scene, there are a lot of talented people, but there are a lot of competitions, and there's only so many venues that are paying people, and so not that people aren't worthy of being credited for their art, but just that because there's such an atmosphere where everyone's still vying for, and like any feel like everyone's still vying for a job, it can be hard to maintain a sense of love and compassion towards people sometimes. And so I find that my background in having such a strong base and understanding how to share that and how to spread that has really helped me build connections with people and be able to interact with people and be able to stay level-headed. Because it's not, as I mentioned before, like it's not always easy putting yourself out there. And so it's really helpful to have a really strong grounding and to be able to to have that innately in you, and not that you can't learn that, but just I'm thankful that of the way I was raised, and that's something that I can always call upon when in doubt, and that's something that's helped me a lot as I grow, and especially as a newer person in the scene. People look at how you act with people, they look how you interact with people, and so that that helps set you apart is by how you interact with people and how you present yourself. And so that has been a big part for me, is making sure that I'm always spreading as much as I can, a message of love and compassion and caring and joy and fun.
Well, that's beautiful, Luke.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Is there anything that any of y'all want to say before we head out? Well, thank you. Oh, nope.
I do want to say. Yeah. So this summer I've been doing drag for about 10 years, and
thank y'all. That is a long time.
Thank you.
I was straight 10 years ago. Gosh.
Oh. I mean, who wasn't? But I've seen the change. I took an Uber here, and I was actually in a car with someone I started off with, which is so wild. I started off in a drag king company, and they were looking for a queen. And I like I said, I never thought I would be a drag queen. So it's one of those full circle moments that I'm having today, of like doing this for 10 years, never thought where I would be, where I was just like, oh, I'm just gonna try it out. And it's a testament to open myself up to the universe and saying, I want something better for my life. I want something where I can be artistic and I can share the love that I have for performing with the world. So sometimes when you open yourself up to the universe, be prepared for the answer.
Now that you talked, I want to say something. If you had told 15-year-old me that one day I would be back in a church talking about my queerness and talking about drag and talking about religion and my faith, I would have never believed you. I would have thought that it was crazy. So just the fact that we are able to come up here and do this and have an audience who is not only just like present, but is actually listening and attentive and responding to us and, hearing stuff that we say, I think that that's just, it's just a testament as to how good people can be. And I think that it's so important, going forward. There's a lot of, there's a lot of stress in the world right now. There's a lot of strife going on right now. And just to be able to share that message of love and happiness, especially with people, who are younger, who might not have, the support system that, some of us were so lucky to have growing up. It's so important to share that message of love and happiness with them and to share that compassion and to show that, it really does get better as we grow older. And that's just, the world is constantly evolving. We're always changing, and we're, as long as we keep that message moving forward, I think that's really important. So,
absolutely. Well, thank y'all so much for coming here today, and y'all, thank you so much for letting us express a portion of our community. Thank you all so much. Absolutely. So, y'all ready for food?
Yeah,
Good,
we
awesome.
are.
Let's eat.
Let's eat.
Are there any announcements we need to make before we head over, or Deneen? Here we go.
She said, yes, ma'am.
It's like, here's the mic, baby. There you go. You're welcome.
So this will conclude our chapel service, but as we do every week, we'll join next door for community lunch. And thank you so much for being present with us and giving us a glimpse into your world. We are truly grateful here at CTS.
Thank you.